How's it going, Scrub Gamers? Welcome back to another video here at Scrub Games, and today we've got another kind of discussion video to go on, and this one comes with the topic of, is Boba the most flexible leader in the game? Because as we've seen, Boba's been one of the top performing leaders in the game, one of the strongest, and for very good reason, because of what he can basically do. And while you mainly see it played as the green version, it can be played in different versions as well. And I feel like I personally feel like it is the most flexible in the game, but I'll see what other people think after basically having a little bit of talk about it. So before we get into the video discussing if Boba is the most flexible leader in the game, I did want to do my usual thing of let you know you should basically just like, comment, subscribe, because it keeps you updated with my videos as and when they drop, and by clicking the notification bell, you can get the alerts to when my videos do drop, so you can watch them there and then, or a later time or a later date that suits you best. So with that all out of the way, let's go ahead and dive into it and kind of go over and see about if any of you else agree that Boba is the most flexible leader in the game. So if you're new and didn't know what we're on about, then or even just basically just new to Star Wars and kind of looking into it, this is Boba Fett. So this is the leader. This is it on this leader side. It's a cunning villainy leader, so it's yellow black, and it's one of the ones that deploys quite early. Like the earliest leader you can probably deploy currently for set 1 is Sabine, deploying at 4 resources, basically meaning by turn 3 if you don't ramp. And Boba is the one that comes out just a little bit later, turn later at least, coming in at turn 4 as early as point without ramping, because it deploys when you have 5 or more resources. And it comes in with some very solid stats as well at 4-7, and its effect is all about getting more resources back. Because how you play cards in this game is by using your resources, or energy, like it might be called in some more mana in different games, and you use that to basically play cards out. And what Boba allows you to do is, if you make one of your opponent's units leave play, either by defeating it, so like KOing it, send it to the grave or the discard, or by bouncing it out back to the hand or spinning it back to the deck, then you will trigger its effect, allowing you to exhaust the leader and then ready a resource. So that's what it does in the leader area, and it does the same thing when it deploys. When it does deploy, once you've got 5 resources, it does the same thing, but it has to attack. So it needs to attack and complete an attack, so if it doesn't survive the attack, it won't trigger. But if it does attack and survives the attack, and you removed a unit from your opponent's board, then you can untap 2 resources. So when he's out on the bout, when he's out and about joining the battle, you can untap up to 2 resources, which is quite nice. But then when he's in the lead area, it gets you at least 1. And it's just the aim of the game, just trying to control your opponent's board, trying to stop them from having too many things out to kind of pressure you is good. And he has excellent stats as well, being 4-7, which is some of the strongest stats among the leaders in the game, especially at one that comes out so early, and in very nice aspects as well. So that's basically leader. It does seem very flexible. So if you look at it from different games perspective, I haven't played many games, but I've played a few, and my most common one is Dragon Ball, and one of the most one of the leaders that is most flexible is one's called Soul Striker, which is a Goku leader that basically every time it attacks, when it's awakened to its ultimate side, it can untap 2 resources, 2 energy, which is really good, give you more energy in a turn that you would normally have, or basically to play more things or bigger things and stuff. So that's basically what it does. Is a one that gives you back more energy to play more things and do more, have more things to do on your turn, which is really nice. And you can play it all. I feel it's the most flexible leader because not only is its effect amazing and offers you a lot of things to give you more, offer you more resources, but it can also be played in all the different aspect combinations to a very good degree. Because if you didn't know, when you within this game, you not only have a leader, you also have a base, and your base has 1 aspect on, while your leader has 2 aspects on. And with those 3 aspects, they determine kind of what you can play without being penalized. Because there's an aspect penalty on this, because you can play any card in your deck, any card whatsoever. But if any of the aspects on the card, because most cards have aspects, at least 90% of them, or 95. But then, if you have an aspect on a card you want to play that doesn't match what's on your leader or base, you get a penalty, meaning you have to pay an extra 2 resources per aspect that doesn't match to play the card. So meaning that the aspects are quite important, basically taking away the penalty from what you could try to play. So it's very important about the what your leader and base combination are. But along with your base, because so you always get cunning and villainy with your leader, and then your base can offer one of the other four colored um, aspects, being vigilance, command, aggression, and cunning, or in color terms, blue, green, red, and yellow. So there are four different ways to play, and it can do very well with each one of them. So if you go with blue or vigilance, you get a nice bit of control and gives you a nice like control. Well, yeah, control deck that can lead into milling as well. And this is a pretty nice one because not only does the control kind of like help deal with your opponent playing stuff like removing from the board, but how you remove it makes is mostly trying to like defeating him, like taking out the cards, KOing him, send him to the graveyard, discard, and that triggers Boba to allow you to untap a resource. So while you're playing, say on the left side, you've got Power Dark side, being able to take a card off, make it force your opponent to defeat a unit, which will trigger Boba to untap a resource. So while you're paying 3 for it, you didn't get 1 energy back, so you technically pay 2. And in the going the control route with vigilance, you get some really nice events allow you to just take out things. You have like Power Dark Side being a very good one for the dark side, and also Super Laser Blast as well. It just kills everything on board. So very nice removal events, and you've even got units as well that can be really good at removal. Like you got Count Dooku, like while they're more like higher costing cards, you can easily get there where you're just constantly just trying to control the game, taking out things. You get later game to play your bigger things. So you got Count Dooku's like a 7 cost. It comes down and like can kill something. The same with Avenger on player when it attacks, allow you to take out something, which is very big stats as well. Not only that, you have more control as well because you have things like Inferno 4, like a nice little unit to play early to kind of help you try and find the things you're looking for while like mitigating the top card of your deck. Top 2 cards of your deck. See if you want to put on the bottom, if you want to keep it on top of the draw. And then you got things like Entrench, preventing your opponent from attacking your base, but giving stats. So while you give it a boost, they can't attack your base. So if you've got nothing else in the arena, that card's not going to be attacked. Really good to put on your opponent's leaders as well, so they can't make use of leaders if they got on attack effects. It's just a really good card in general. So you got a nice bit of control with blue, and while some decks might can do it really well, it's like you got ever control decks and like Iden, Krennic. You got a mix of green as well, so you get ramp. You got Invader. Like blue is very nice for a control aspect, and Boba also makes good use out of it and can do it probably better than some, but not as good as others. And then you've got tempo, like from command, because command is the color, well, is the aspect that allows you to ramp, so increase your resources by like adding more cards to your resource. You could basically you have more resources to play more things or bigger things, and you can do that by using any of the cards you got offer, which are ramp, which currently are free, and luckily Boba can use some of the cheaper ones and best ones as well. Because while there are free, you get penalized on one of them because one of them is a double aspect, being command, like the event itself. And but it does gain access to both Super Laser Technician and Resupply as the two other ramp cards. And Super Laser Technician is one of the ones that is a dark aspect card, so villainy aspect. So being a villainy card, a villainy leader gives you access to that. Whereas if you went for a heroic one, you lose access to that. So being a dark side gives you more access to more ramp cards, which then Boba can make use of. And of course, you're going to be trying to ram it into something. If you take something out of it, once again, that trigger Boba to kind of give you back a resource, but also allows you to just play more bigger things. And some bigger things that you can get are quite very, very strong. And one of the like main draws to command are things like Darth Vader, the legendary unit, which comes down with ambush. It can attack the same turn it's played, just into units and not a base. And then also play more things out from the top 10 cards of your deck onto the board. Like just comes in, base attacks, has very good stats, and also plays out more stuff. And even Overwhelm and Barrage, because like you can use to boost one of your cards, and then also with that boosted card, do a lot of damage out across the board as well. A very strong card and a very annoying one at that, allowing you not just to boost to a unit, but also to do out damage and take things out without needing to attack into them. And then not only that, but since it's the ramp color, what it's going to do is try and like get more resources, you can get bigger things as quickly as possible to just disrupt your opponent and just be a pain. And you got that in some really nice ones for the dark side and just for command in general, like Reinforcement Walker and Relentless being very huge units, very high costing at 8 and 9, with very big stats that are harder to take down, and also very annoying effects like Relentless preventing your opponent from having effects on the first event they play, and in Reinforcement allow you to either heal or just gain more cards every time it's played or attacked. This is the one that you probably see more of in events because it's the one that's been tried and tested and like basically tried out and shown that it's actually very strong. So you'll see this more likely where people just are gonna, of course, like get into the game or want to basically just try and win. They're going to use things that's been proven, so to try out this more often. So you more often see command Boba than anything else. But you can play all different ones. And then for the next aspect, we have aggression, which is all focusing on like damage, like spreading damage out, putting damage on the cards, on the base, to try and win the game. Because the way to win the game is through taking your opponent's base down to 0 health to win the game. And aggression does really well with that by basically putting out damage, not on just units, but onto bases as well, and going out for a route to like defeat things and just win the game. And while it's not the most popular one, or like one I've not really seen, it can work very well because Boba's effect, where it allows you to give back resources every time you defeat stuff. If you play out some of these strong units as well, like Fifth Brother and Seventh Sister, which have great effects to kind of deal damage, or just like be even stronger, allow you to take out things, allow you to then get those resources back so you can play more things. And also you've got some very nice space units that are like great to kind of help deal with board and just allow you to then start hitting base with like things like Imperial Interceptor, which when played allows you to deal with 3 damage to a space unit, and Ruthless Vader just when it comes down, being a higher cost of 6, but then when played or when defeated, it deals 2 damage to a base and also 2 damage to an enemy unit, could be space or ground, and it's got some pretty solid stats on it as well. And not only that, you have some nice utility as well. Like if you want to prevent your opponent from healing their base, while you just keep going ham on their base. You got Wolf, which every time it is played or attacks, while also having Saboteur to ignore things like Sentinel that kind of block you from going to your base. You can prevent your bases from being healed for the phase. And then you got the Fit Sabling Fangfighter as well. Be a nice way to chuck off defeat upgrades like Entrenches we saw, or even experience or shields as well. So you've got some nice like damage pushing with aggression, also some very nice events with it as well. And combined with cunning already that you have for Boba, gives you a lot of control and ways to just like push damage and be more aggressive than the rest. Like it is the one that probably you like probably never really seen. Like you probably haven't seen much of the blue, but blue's probably more like something you see more because the control aspect that's been tried and true. Whereas like the aggression unit with cunning is not something you see often, even in like on either side of the thing of the aspects being like heroic or villainy. But it is something that you could try and could be something your opponent might expect and work quite well. Then the last one we have is the double cunning. So you can have cunning as well from your base, and I'll give you access to the double cunning cards. And is one that'll give you less of a card pool because you're sacrificing a whole other aspect that for access to 3 cards without the asset penalty. Because currently in set 1, there is only 3 cards in each aspect that have double aspects on them. Because remember, like for the aspects, you have to have those icons on. And while you would have cunning from Boba, because the double cunning cards have 2 aspects of the same one, you need to have 2 on your cards to be able to not get penalized. So having like a cunning base with Boba allows you access to the double cunning cards without the penalty aspect. And while it does give you less of a card pool, still it's good and it's big enough of a card pool, especially with the leader, to actually make good use of it. And it's actually probably the second most common form of Boba that you'll probably see in events. Because you get access to really nice cards like Bodhi here being one that allows you a bit of hand control, allow you to play it out for a solid stats, but also look at your opponent's hands so you can have that hand knowledge, but also ripping out a card that's not a unit, so things like upgrades and events. And you have Cunning here being a very nice unit event that gives you a really nice option of cards, either making your opponent discard a card randomly from hand, Exhaust 2, which kind of goes with the Cunning route of being like control, giving a 4 power boost to any unit, or making you like putting like, any unit that's not a leader that has 4 less power back to the hand, meaning that's another way to remove a card off board, so Boba can then go ahead and give you back a resource. So a very good one for that. Like it just goes in time with Boba to have an option to trigger its effect, while also giving you another option from the Ever Free on it. You also have some really good units that are basically in type of Boba, like you got the legendary Boba unit as well, which is a very good one. Very good stats for its cost because it's not only is a free cost, it has 3 power and 5 health, so more health than you would expect from a cheap unit. But also giving you a very solid on attack, which if a card's been there for at least a turn and is rested, you can deal more damage to it. I mean, you can take out bigger things that have been there rested for a turn, and so you can lock things down or like tap things down with cunning. You can easily get a boost off that, and even Fett's Fire Spray being a very unique unit that if you control Boba Fett or Jango Fett as a leader or a unit, you can ready him, so you can bring this out ready to attack straight away, where most things will come in rested, so they can't attack the same turn, and then put some pressure on. Like a good way to finish off games as well is with Fett's Fire Spray. And then you've got some other good units. You got Bosk here being an ambush card. Ambush being one of the best keywords in the game currently, just allowing you to attack the same turn it's played. And also, it has a little bit of a bonus where if you play an event, which Cunning has a lot of, you get to deal 2 damage to your unit to kind of chip away at something or finish it off. And then you got one of the nicest, most annoying events in the dark side of Cunning, being No Good to Be Dead, being one of the things that can lock down a card for 2 turns, because how turns work in Star Wars is that you have your main phase, and at the end of the turn, rather than the beginning of the turn, at the end of the turn you have your whole resupply phase, which is the part of the turn when you draw new cards, like charge a card, and then restand everything. You do it at the end of the turn in Star Wars rather than the beginning. So since it's in the same turn but just at the end of it, this will lock down a card for 2 turns because you'll source the unit, and it can't ready this round. And since at the end of the turn is when you untap things, it won't untap then, so it go into the next turn, or still tapped, so it can't restand. So 2 turns you potentially get off locking something down, which is amazing. So, and each of these ways are ways you can play Boba and still be very effective with it, which is more than being said for most leaders in this game. I don't think there's any other leader really, or there's no other leader that can do it as well as Boba in playing every different aspect. And some of them, it can do probably the better than most other leaders can with that certain aspect combination. But what do you think? Do you think Boba is the most, or do you like me think Boba is the most flexible and reliable leader in the game, or do you think there are other leaders that are probably more flexible than Boba? Let me know what you think in the comments, and I hope to see what you think. So that is it from me. Thank you for watching. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next video. Bye for now.
Like a boss.